So do we bring our footage in here or?
Yeah, I'm gonna explain that to you. So there's two options. One is don't really mess with the board too much because if you start tweaking things, then you can make it to where the board actually doesn't work. And then I'm only so much of a tech person, okay? And the other teachers I've asked are like, we don't know how to fix it. I'm like, well, if you don't know how to fix it, and I don't know how to fix it, then we're in trouble. So don't really mess with the board unless you know what you're doing, which I would just say don't mess with the board. All right. I believe I'm recording because I pressed record. So there's a couple ways you can go about doing this. One is you can bring a jump drive in here and you can, have your script, read it with your project and say, okay, this needs to be 10 seconds, this needs to be 20 seconds, this needs to be 10 seconds, and then record it in here. Or you can bring your project in here. Now there is a way to record a voiceover in Adobe Premiere, but it didn't work for us last semester, and so I'll have to do some research why it's not working. The other option is to bring your project in here. Now, the only concern you're going to have is if you bring your hard drive in here and you log out of that computer, people are probably going to take your computer. So maybe leave your book bag there and stuff by the computer so people know, hey, don't take my spot. Because you can't edit your whole project in here. So you can either use a jump drive and time out on the script saying 10 seconds, 20, 25, and just look on the recording to make sure you do that proper seconds. Or you can bring in your project. So I brought in a project to show you if you did it this way, how you could do it. So this is some footage of that I shot with Parker on the EMC campus after the tornado damage. So you want to go and do Adobe Audition. So Adobe Audition looks like this little icon right here. And if you hit the F4 button, you can actually go and find it if you click on these little dots. And you can click here and it'll open. So I'm going to close it. Close project. No, I don't really need that. Okay, well, let's close all. I didn't even read it actually. I just said close. Would you like to? Sure. All right. So when it opens, you're going to need to make a new project. So it's saving its data. What? 5 minutes? No way. So we're going to say File, New, Multi-Track Session. And then this is where you pick, it's kind of like setting your scratch disk. Where do you want to save this to? So if you're doing it on your jump drive, I would maybe make a folder that says VO or construction VO if you're doing construction VO. So I'm going to say test 2 because this is my second test. And then I'm going to pick my hard drive. Now I like being super organized. So for the hard drive, I'm going to pick my hard drive over here on the left. Then I'm going to go to my Adobe Premiere Documents, EMCC Damage, and last time I made an audio folder. So I went down here and said new folder, and I made one that said audio because I want to keep all my audio in one spot, and I'm going to say choose. So this is where you're saving the project. When we export the audio, we have to change and save where you want to change it to. We do want 48 kilohertz of audio. You do want 32 bits. And stereo. Stereo means it's coming out of left and right speaker instead of a monotone. Because you can do stereo or mono, and we want stereo. And we don't have 5.1 digital surround sound. We don't have that. So we're just going to say okay. So this is a multi-track session. You can actually change these colors if you are really that inclined, but you don't need to. So they have the different colors to let you know there's different tracks. Right now, if I try to record, you're going to see it won't even let me press the record button because I have to arm the track to record. I have to let the computer know which track I want to record on. So this is where you go to arm it to record. So I'm going to say arm to record. Now, unfortunately, somebody broke the scissor stand. So unless I can get the physical plant to weld it or find some way to jerry-rig it to get it in here, we're going to have to buy a new one. So until that point, you are going to have to hold it, which sucks. But some people in practicum do use their phones to record their voiceover, but this is a far superior microphone. Also, if you do record on your phone, if you record it at home or out in the hallway, it's going to echo, it's going to sound different. Whereas in here, you're going to hear the difference in the quality of recording with this microphone in this area. Even though it's not entirely soundproofed, I soundproofed as much as we could at the time. So
what if you came in here and recorded with your phone?
I do know that some people do that, yeah. But again, this is going to be a superior sound, but depending on the phone, it's not necessarily bad. Yeah. But often phones, I think, record in mono versus stereo. So you can see here I have a left and a right channel versus if you do your phone, I believe it's probably going to be in a mono, but I don't know. I've always used a professional booth, not my phone, but I do have practice students who use their phone.
Okay.
So if you're doing it at home and you're doing it on your phone, I recommend getting into your closet somewhere where there's stuff that's going to absorb any of that extra noise. And if you don't really have a big closet, then somewhere where it's not like echoey like a bathroom. So there's not a lot of space, unfortunately, to put your papers out, and you do kind of need the keyboard. So you could move the keyboard off to the side or have your papers here. When you record your voiceover, unfortunately, like I said, you're going to have to hold it, which kind of sucks, but we'll see what we can do. So I'm going to hold it. And then I'm going to record. So a couple things. You want to sometimes wait a second because you can get the click noise at the end when you hit spacebar. So after I deliver my voiceover, I'm going to pause a second or two and then hit spacebar, because if I do it while I'm saying my last word, you're going to hear the click noise. So spacebar is not going to have it record, but right now, if I go down here, you'll notice I can press the record button because I armed it to record. It's basically just saying, I want you to record on this track. So this is a playhead just like your regular playhead, and these are hours, minutes, and seconds. You can actually do it as beats as well. So you could put in a music track here and then record a rap or a song over it on here. You could bring a guitar in here and record it and then, sing. So then I would arm it to record. And you do want to project. A lot of students will come in here and they'll talk like this. And you'll notice how small those audio waveforms get. So you want to project like you're projecting like you are doing a stand-up, because you don't want to have a wonderful sounding stand-up where you're projecting and having good tone, and then you get to your voiceover and you sound like a meek little baby. So make sure that you kind of consider it like a stand-up, because you can see a lot of people when they come in here, they want to do it really, really quiet. And you can even see here, when I press spacebar, you see that audio waveform at the very end. So you want to wait a few seconds because you can then crop that out.
So you have to hit the record button to record, but you can hit space to stop.
Or you can hit stop. But okay. I use the space bar. I'm just used to space bar. Either or would work. So you can see, because you can see the levels here. When you get into the yellow, that's good. But when I get into the red, which I can't even get into the red, I'd have to start screaming. And you do want to project. A lot of students will come in here and they'll talk like this. Notice how small those audio waveforms get. So you want to project like you're projecting like you are doing a stand-up, because you don't want to have a wonderful sound. And so if I needed to adjust my volume, say I was too low, I could adjust my volume here. So if I was too low, I could adjust it higher, or if I was too high, I could adjust it a little bit lower. So, I was kind of yelling at those points, so you can see they're louder.
Change the whole thing?
It would. So I personally would probably use, you can use a pen tool often, or you can cut it. Like I can say, okay, this part is the only part that needs to be adjusted. So I can use the razor blade, cut it. Then I can go back and get my here, and I can highlight it and move it. Undo. I can pull then the yellow up here, just only here. Or if I'm not mistaken, I've done this before in other programs. I can highlight here and say, nope, it didn't undo. You can highlight sometimes and have it do in other programs. So you can blade it, and then now I go here and I can check and see that it is. And we'll talk like this. A little bit louder, but maybe I want to go it again. So I would check it, because if you record it so low that you can't boost it to get to that 12 and 6, that it's not good. So you don't want to yell, but you want to project. So you can see a couple points I was yelling versus projecting. So you can see the difference in that. So then if I wanted to, some people like to record their entire voiceover in one track in one take. If you do that, you want to make sure that you think about your breathing, and you don't want to keep going and then kind of gasp for breath or get to where you're getting a little cotton mouth because you've been talking for so long. So some people like to record one voice over here, one voice over here, one voice over here, and then mix it down into one audio track. Either way is fine. It just deals with what works best for your working style. There's no right or wrong. I've seen one style work great for one person, one style work great for another. So then if I wanted to, I could then unarm this to record, go down here and say, okay, now I like to leave a little bit of a space so I can cut it with the razor blade in Premiere if I need to. And then I could go here, I could record it, and then I can record the other part of my voice over here, and then I could record the third part on the third track if I wanted, or you can record it all right here and then stop. Then at that point, again, you always want to check your levels and see if they're good levels. I'm kind of in the 15 range, so I'd probably boost it up a little bit. And then I could record 12 to 6. I go down a little bit.
How'd you do that again?
It's just like in Adobe Premiere. You just grab the audio.
To move down to the next
Uh-huh.
one.
So all I did is unarm this one,
okay.
arm this one.
Okay.
So you see how it highlights it? It tells you this is where you're going to be recording.
And it's going to automatically start where you finish.
Where
on top.
No, it's automatically going to start where this is. So I would need to move this right here.
Okay.
But even if I start recording here,
If
it's not going to record.
or you can record it.
It's not going to record
right
over
here.
this, but I'm going to hear this, so it could trip you up. You're like, oh my god, why am I talking? So that's why you can record music in here. So I could, if this was music, I could then sing over it.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
But here it's going to probably trip you up because then I can just move this with my arrow key, and then nobody's going to hear what I heard when I was recording it. Then when you're done, after you check all your levels and make sure you have everything you want, you're going to go export, multi-track, mix down, because we're mixing it down into one track, and we're going to do the entire section. You could do selected clips, but we're going to do the entire section. And then I'm going to pick where it's going, because right now it's going to my hard drive because I've already picked it, but generally it's set up to go to the computer. And remember, when you log off the computer, it's not going to work. So you always want to make sure that you change it and hit browse, pick your hard drive, go to your folder, to your audio folder, call it what you want to call it, save it, and then say okay. Then it's done. I can save my project. Command H hides it. Then I can go to here, and it says it's processing my mix down. The computer's been lagging. The last group it worked. And then I can have it where I can bring in my audio, but the computer's been acting really slow. It took like
So where are you
5
dragging
minutes.
it to?
I'm trying to drag it to
Okay.
my audio track. It's
Okay.
just
I just didn't know where you had to.
let's do this. There we go. So now what if there it goes. So now I can bring it in here and I can check it.
Tell.
And you'll notice how small those audio waveforms get. So you want to project like you're projecting so then you can check it and see if you like it. You don't have to do this where you have the project in here, but it's nice for you to see, okay, yes, this works. No, it doesn't. I need to do another
So
take.
we can actually wait till we get back out there.
You can if you want. So you can do it on a jump drive and then just take it back out to your project. I had to do that at my university because we had a server. So I would come into the audio booth, save it onto the server, go back to my seat, see if it worked. If it didn't work, then I go back to the audio booth, which somebody might be in there at that time. So, it might be advantageous to bring the project in here so you can always check it and say, yes, this works great. No, it does not work great. And then I'm just going to delete this because I don't want this.
How again did you import the audio?
So it's just like when you're, because I saved it to the project folder. So all I did is I picked my hard drive over here. I went to my Adobe Premiere Documents. I went to my EMCC footage. I went to my audio folder, and then here are my waveforms.
Okay, so
Okay.
you created an audio folder for each.
Just for one. And then this is just these are different tests because these are different projects. So if I go inside of here, I can then go to my,
So the audio folder is separate.
I just made that audio folder, remember when we were here, and I said, I'm going to make, I want to save my project to an audio folder, and I want to export to an audio folder.
Okay, so I can save it any way I want, as long as I know where it is. Like
I would personally do the audio
Under the-
folder, but you should do an audio folder because really it's gonna make your life easier if you know that your audio's in there. You don't have to, but honestly, the more you do, like with the day one footage, I did more interviews than you guys did. I have like hours of footage. And if I don't have everything organized, then I don't know whose audio goes with what person, and it gets a little tricky. So me personally, I would make an audio folder. Any other questions before I start?
go ahead.
Padding is black space before, right?
Like in the audio or for video?
Video.
Think about it this way. A pad is supposed to be there to help you in case your director is busy, something goes wrong and you need to hold on that video. Maybe your anchor's mic fell off and they're like, oh shit, I got to put my mic on.
Right.
Pad needs to be beautiful looking B-roll.
Okay.
Because if it's black,
I know it says
black,
right now 5 seconds before and 10 seconds after.
yeah, pad is just like, because before we used to have to do a roll tape, so we had to have that 5 seconds ahead of time. But it's in case like maybe the director's not paying attention or there's something wrong in the studio, we can hold it. If we hold on black, then it's going to look like a mistake. But if it's a nice solid shot of B-roll that's extra, then it doesn't look like we made a mistake.
We don't have to start talking at that point.
No.
Okay.
CAD, you don't have to have any audio in it. It's just there in case like there's an issue getting out or getting into the video.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it's black, then it's not necessarily what I would call pad, because I can't use that because
Okay.
nobody wants to see black on TV. Because usually when you see black on TV, you're like, what?
Okay.
Something's wrong. So it doesn't really work out. So let's see if